The former Nickelodeon star was arrested in Ohio this week.
Today, we're going to reveal the true story behind Josh's rise and Drake's downfall. This is the real life story behind the tabloids.
I was at the Video Music Awards and I see him there and he sees me. And I go up to him, and this might be the most Sopranos thing I've ever done. And I look at him and I go apologize to my wife right now.
That was 13 years after Drake and Josh became everyone's favorite children's show. They were living every kid's dream.
Came from totally different backgrounds, but something about us together worked.
I think I've been able to attain that type of chemistry with anyone else in the world.
But Josh and Drake had very different memories of that time period.
And as we were doing Drake and Josh, I was on cloud 9.
In the moment, there were times when I just wanted it to be over.
Josh loved comedy, but it was also an escape from something else.
Did you get made fun of?
Oh yeah, viciously. I remember the first time a kid called me a fat fuck, it pierced my armor, waking me up to the idea that life might be tough looking like this.
You were doing stand-up at 8 years old?
I was too fat for T-ball. I surely was I'll make fun of myself first, so you don't have the chance, and in doing so, hopefully win you over.
So it was painful for Josh being the clumsy, bigger sidekick to the popular, cooler Drake.
I remember being so obsessed with Drake. I went to his concert. Traditionally,
sidekick, the best friend. I was so envious of you at that age.
Josh was desperate for someone to look up to.
Your father wasn't there, and your mother raised you. And that had to be hard as fuck for a little kid.
Yes.
Josh had been overeating to cope with his dad's absence, but he just wanted to look and be like other guys.
I don't want to be the fat funny guy. The dad stuff started to sort of rear its ugly head in my teens when I started losing weight. Pretty quickly, I got to my goal weight and then became viciously addicted to drugs and alcohol. And suddenly, I'm now looking like a normal kid. And I'm oh, they do drugs, and that's normal. And I died to be normal.
He was addicted to drugs while he was filming Drake and Josh? A kid show?
Yep. But when he was shooting a movie, Josh finally pushed it too far.
After a particularly hard-charging weekend of treating my body like a chemistry set, I showed up to work at 6 a.m. having not slept since Saturday, walked onto set and collapsed in front of 100 of my coworkers. I was at a crossroads. There were too many close calls. My luck was running out.
He got sober just as Drake and Josh came to an end. He got engaged, he was offered new roles, and as Drake struggled to start his music career, Josh started to gain confidence as his own man.
I think things are going to work out in some way. I'm certainly the weight and height of a full-grown man, and I think I might be on my way there.
But on what was supposed to be the happiest day of Josh's life, Drake sabotaged it.
I didn't invite him to my wedding, and the internet went crazy.
He didn't invite Drake? I thought he looked up to him.
That's why everyone lost it. These guys were supposed to be brothers.
And he starts writing these tweets that immediately catch fire.
He aired his dirty laundry on Twitter about not being invited to Josh's wedding.
True colors have come out today. Message is loud and clear. Ties are officially cut. I'll miss you, brother.
And everything escalated when Josh told his fans what they didn't want to hear.
Are you guys not friends?
Not really, no.
Nothing ruins a childhood quite like finding out two people you grew up thinking were friends were not actually friends at all.
Josh Peck is a fucking liar.
And so then he leans in and goes on this press tour about how heartbroken he is.
Clearly you were very upset about that.
Rightfully so. I think that it was his time to get back at me for the wedding stuff. I think that really bummed them out.
What wedding stuff?
A few years earlier, Drake and Janet had a small intimate wedding and Josh wasn't invited.
You've literally done the same thing. I don't understand.
There were two sides to the story, but one thing was clear. Josh wanted to distance himself from Drake, and with good reason.
The former Nickelodeon star was arrested in Ohio this week.
He is being charged with 2 serious counts involved with minors.
I'm going to reveal all of the details of the crimes that he committed against me.
So what happened?
Drake exploited a teenage girl who was a big fan of his. The girl, who remains anonymous, met up with him after one of his concerts, and she told police that he sexually assaulted her.
I started off as a fan of him. Every night, I dread going to sleep because I don't want to see him in my nightmares. He preyed on me. He is a monster and a danger to children.
This same guy who was playing on TV for kids And then he's like using his fame and the love that younger audience has for him, and then he's luring children in. Was he found guilty for this?
Yeah, he pleaded guilty to attempted child endangerment and disseminating harmful material to juveniles. But he avoided jail time.
It's almost like the media got it wrong. Drake as this cool guy, the one that everybody would fall in love with in high school. And then they have Josh, his sidekick, who's like the loser and the chubby one. But in their real life, it's almost like the opposite.
And as Drake was going down that dark path, Josh got some life-changing news.
Hi.
We're gonna have a baby.
We're gonna have a baby.
Oh boy.
He had to step up as a man and a father, but couldn't get rid of one fear he had.
My wife and I decided to go old school and not find out the sex of the baby, so I had 9 months to think about it. I hoped and prayed I'd have a girl. I was terrified to have a son because I didn't think I knew how to raise a boy. I had no model for it.
You wanted a baby girl,
yeah,
but then you got a boy.
Yes.
Josh was faced with an important choice he had to make.
I had to correct the negative cycle. I had to be for him what I wished my dad was for me. There were moments when my son was just a few weeks old that I would just stare at him as he slept. I knew I was far from doing it perfectly, but I was there. I was present for all of it.
And I look at my son now, he's got a loving family and support. My journey through life through the last 20 years, dealing with my dad's stuff, losing 100 pounds, facing drugs and alcohol, all those things are what allowed me to redefine happiness for me. Primarily that has to do with my wife and kid.
There was a cycle. His dad wasn't around. When he had a child, he chose to go the other way. You know, when he could have easily just kind of shut down.
If people don't give you what you need in your life, give yourself what you need. If you don't have a role model, become that role.